In this PowerPoint, we're going to talk specifically about elastic collisions. Elastic collisions. This example, we're going to say that the two masses are going to be the same. So what happens in this circumstance? All right, we're going to have cart A is going to have a velocity of 4 meters per second. This cart B is going to have 0 meters per second. What happens is essentially they transfer their velocity from one to the other. Now, in order to do this, the reason that this happens is because the kinetic energy has to remain the same. So the best way to do that, since they have the same mass, the best way to do that is simply to change their velocities. Now in this example, we have the same scenario, except this time B is going to be moving towards A. And in this scenario, when they collide, they actually exchange velocities again. So now A started out with 4 meters per second, now has negative 2 meters per second, and then the B has had negative 2 meters per second, now has 4 meters per second. So in a perfectly elastic collision, basically what's going to happen is they'll switch their velocities if they have the same mass. All right, so what if we have an object that is exceedingly more massive than the other object? So as that object comes in, what it's going to do is it's going to collide with the other object. Now obviously what we see is that that mass B is going to move off very quickly. It's going to move away from the large mass, and the large mass is really not going to even see the smaller mass. So the larger mass moves without really slowing down any, and then the other mass moves off at some speed. So what is that speed that is going to be moving off? Well, if we think of it like this, oftentimes if we think of like a bouncing ball that bounces on the ground, in a perfectly elastic collision, what's going to happen is that ball is going to bounce up at the same velocity at which it hit the ground. In that elastic collision, you got a velocity towards the Earth and the velocity away from the Earth. And that perfectly elastic, those velocities are going to be the same. So instead of taking the frame of reference from the golf ball sitting still, let's look at the frame of reference from the club, the really massive club that is sitting still. Now, as the golf ball comes toward the club, and you can see the house in the background, what that means is basically we're in reference with the club, and the world's passing by at 12 meters per second to the left. Now, just like the idea of a ball that bounces against the ground, it's going to bounce back at the same velocity at which it bounced toward the object. So it came in at 12 meters per second, and it's going to leave at 12 meters per second. So the entire scenario looks like this, coming in at 12 meters per second and then leaving at 12 meters per second while the rest of the world still passes by at 12 meters per second. Now let's go back to the original scenario. Well, that means if the club is coming in at 12 meters per second, then relative to the club, the ball is coming at it at 12 meters per second. So if it moves away at 12 meters per second relative to the club, and the club is moving at 12 meters per second relative to the Earth, then that means the ball is going to be moving 24 meters per second away from the club with the frame of reference of the Earth. This is a relative motion scenario where the ball is going to be moving away from the club at 12 meters per second relative to the club, but the club is moving at 12 meters per second. So that means it's going to be double. So essentially, the golf ball is going to have twice the velocity of the club when it hits it. So whatever velocity the club has, the ball will move away at twice the velocity, just like if the club were sitting still and the ball were coming towards the club. All right, so what about the velocity of the center of mass? To find the velocity of the center of mass, we add the momenta of all of the system and divide by the total mass of the system. So kind of like finding the center of mass, now we're going to take the mass times velocity and divide by the total mass. All right, so basically the same principle here. The center of mass, or the velocity of the center of mass is going to be the summation of all the momenta divided by all of the masses added together. So without any outside forces, the momentum of the center of mass is constant. So this is pretty convenient because if you think of the center of mass for with no outside forces is going to continue to move at the same rate that it started at. So let's say we got this mass A with 4 meters per second. Mass B is going to be at 0 meters per second. We know the center of mass is going to be right between them because they have the same mass. This is from the example from before where the two objects have the same mass. Now if you watch the center of mass is going to be halfway in between the entire time. And as it's going through, it's going to be constantly halfway in between. Now in the entire time the center of mass was moving at a constant speed. And that constant speed just kind of showed that the momentum before and the momentum after was the same. So the total momentum before and after is the same for this entire system, even after the collision. If we look at it for this scenario, we got mass A has 4 meters per second, mass B has negative 2 meters per second. We got their center of mass halfway in between again because they both have the same mass. And then we follow the center of mass as it moves. It's constantly halfway in between, and it's halfway in between because the momentum is the same as before and after. In this example, to find the velocity of center of mass, we have two masses, one of m, the other of 2m, and then velocity 1 for the first mass, and then velocity 2 for the second mass. And then the two will collide together and stick together, and afterwards they move off with one velocity. So two masses collide, stick together. What velocity of the center of mass using the conditions provided for the before diagram? Okay, so we know the equation for the velocity of the center mass is the total momentum divided by the total mass. So we take m velocity 1 plus m velocity 2 and then divide by the total mass of the system. That's mass 1 plus mass 2. You can see that mass is actually going to cancel from the numerator and denominator, each one of those terms. And what we're left with is the velocity of the center mass is going to be equal to velocity 1 plus 2 times velocity 2 because it has twice the mass, and then divided by the total mass, which is 3. So the next question is, what's the final velocity of the two masses after they stick together compared to the velocity of the center of mass? So we have our equation for the velocity of the center of mass. Now we want to compare that final velocity to this. All right, so in order to do that, we're going to take the final velocity. It's going to be equal to the velocity of the center of mass, and that's simply because that before the center of mass of the two objects, if you take the total mass of the system divided by the total momentum of the system divided by the total mass, that equals the velocity of the center of mass. But since the two objects are stuck together now, then that means they both move with the same velocity, which means the center of mass also moves with the same velocity. So the velocity before is going to be equal to that. The velocity of center of mass before is going to be equal to the velocity of center of mass after, and therefore it's going to be equal to the final velocity there. In this example, we have the two objects. Now we switch them and we give them a different velocity. And now we have a velocity of a center of mass. They hit each other, and after they hit each other and they collide, they kind of bounce off of each other. And then the velocity of mass of 2m is going to be half the velocity of the center of mass. And then mass m is going to have a final velocity that we're going to look for. All right, so the two masses moving in with a velocity with their center of mass given by v. After colliding, mass 2m has a final velocity of 1/2 v. What's the final velocity of the other mass? So we use our equation for the center of mass. Velocity of the center of mass is going to be equal to the total momentum divided by the total mass. The velocity of the center of mass is given to be v, so we can plug that in. The total momentum after is going to be 2m times 1/2 v, and then the other mass times the final velocity, which we don't know. Then we add the total mass together, and that's because this momentum before is going to be equal to the momentum after, so it doesn't really matter which one we use. We have more information afterwards, so we can use that final velocity. And that's what we're going to calculate. So you can see that each term in the numerator has a velocity, or has a mass, so we can divide both sides of the numerator and denominator by mass. You also see that this 2 right here and 1/2, those two will cancel as well. And then we take the 3 over to the other side to get rid of the denominator. And what we're left with is 3v. It's going to be equal to, after all this is canceled, v is left over here plus the final velocity there. So then we subtract the velocity from both sides. We get the final velocity is going to be equal to 2 times the velocity. Okay, so hopefully that kind of makes sense. First of all, the velocity of this mass m would have to be faster than the 2m if they bounce off of each other, because if for some reason 2m was faster, then it would have to go through this m in order for it to be faster than m. Okay, and then the velocity of the center of mass, given at the beginning, the mass of the second mass m would have to go faster than that center of mass in order for the center of mass velocity to stay in between them.